I'll play a clip real quick as everybody comes in of Boris Johnson talking about how they are going to block people from entries to nightclubs if they are not vaccinated, now that the vaccine is available to people who are 18 and older in England. Let's play the clip now. We'll run it back again, but here's Boris Johnson.
I should serve notice now that by the end of September, when all over 18s will have had their chance to be double jabbed, we're planning to make full vaccination the condition of entry to nightclubs and other venues where large crowds gather. Proof of a negative test will no longer be enough.
All right, so that's him saying, now that we have vaccines available to 18 and up and they can be double jabbed, we are going to have vaccination only entry at nightclubs, etc. And if you choose to not get it, you cannot go in, and a negative test will not do any more. So that's what they're saying. I'm going to play another clip too, because I have this clip from the UK news. It's not me. I didn't make this news thing. Just check out this news segment real quick of them explaining how many of the people who died from the Delta variant have been vaccinated. Take a look.
It looked at 257 people known to have died with the Delta variant. 92 were unvaccinated, but 118 had had both doses. That's because the vaccine is good, but not perfect.
So that was him saying, well, they have the results of people with the Delta variant who that happened to. There was more vaccinated people than unvaccinated. That's because the vaccine is good, but not perfect. And then you have Boris Johnson just days or weeks later saying, we identify that it's not perfect. We identify that you could still get the virus. We identify that you can still pass the virus. We identify it's happening all over the world now. People who have been double jabbed are getting COVID-19 because they never claimed that that wouldn't happen if you listen to the experts. But now it's like, oh, well, a test doesn't matter. You can't go in the club without a vaccine. So no test, even though they're finding people who got it, who are tested, they're going with the forced vaccination. So that's what it is for today. Thank you guys for being here. And I do want to say something to Americans too, because in one way, I think we're ahead of a lot of the rest of the world because of our culture of the Constitution, 1776, the Declaration of Independence, our original breaking away from England, our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our conservative Christian values that I think have put us in a place different than England over the last couple hundred years, but especially the freedom-loving nature of America. It's just baked into our flag and our culture. That's the only thing keeping us really at this point from this. There's other things too, but I really do believe that we're headed in this direction as well. I don't say it to scare people. I'm not trying to be a fear monger, but I want to read something today, and I hope people do quote me on this. Sometimes people say, don't quote me on this. You do quote me on this. Complying didn't get you your freedom back. It just moved the line of what's accepted, and you will have to face the consequences. So I'm not trying to scare people because this goes for me as well. But complying did not get people their freedom back. I heard it from the left. I heard it from the right. I heard it because they like Trump. I heard it because they hated Trump. They like him. They don't. Everybody's flip-flopping. They love. They hate. They're fighting the left. They're fighting the right. I've heard it all. Okay. Just do this. Do the masks, and then you'll get your freedom back. Anomaly, Trump just gave us the vaccine so we could be free. I've heard every theory, every argument. Here's what I'm saying. Complying did not get you your freedom back. It only moved the line of what's accepted, and you'll have to face the consequences. When you tell them what you allow, they realize that that's the new line. The new line is they could force mask your children. The new line is they could force mask employees at a corporate level. Who cares? At the Marriott, yeah, it's in Florida, but we don't listen. On an airplane, yeah, we understand your rules, but these are our rules. So the same Republicans that say, oh, no, it's not, they're going to do it via the corporations here. And a lot of the Republicans flopped last year during March, April, and May. And while they're putting on a show for people saying, oh, we're fighting now, a lot of this has already been baked into these CARES Act and all this stuff that they've already signed off on, given money to these companies. They're implementing this stuff. They're planning it. The same thing they're doing in the UK, they're probably going to try to do here. And the solution, because I don't like to just complain, is people actually drawing a line in the sand. When Democrats draw no line in the sand, they say, do whatever you want, and we'll make excuses for it. When Republicans allow the line in the sand to be pushed by the Democrats and the leaders they love on the right and make excuses for it, you are now sending the message to not just your party, the other party, the corporations, and the people who really control what we can and can't do. You're saying, well, they'll allow this, so why wouldn't we do that? You get what I'm saying? We didn't get our freedom back in America. They gave it back, and the same people who gave it back will take it away again unless people get smarter in both parties. We'll listen to Boris Johnson one more time, who is now saying, we have these available, and I think it's time for, if you don't have it, you're not coming in.
Notice that by the end of September, when all over 18s will have had their chance to be double jabbed, we're planning to make full vaccination the condition of entry to nightclubs and other venues where large crowds gather.
So where large crowds gather, especially nightclubs and venues, of course, they have a large youth audience at nightclubs and venues. A test won't work anymore. You need a vaccine. Despite the fact, like you'll see here, I don't know if you could hear this guy, despite the fact they have the results from it.
It looked at 257 people known to have died with the Delta variant. 92 were unvaccinated, but 118 have had both doses. That's because the vaccine is good, but not perfect.
So the results are in. I mean, yeah, it's not going to stop you from getting it or having this happen to you, but I mean, it's pretty good. So we're going to take away testing and just do vaccination segregation. It's happening in the UK. It's probably going to happen a lot over Europe and any country. It's really about human freedom. In America, you have more of this. People care about this. We'll see what happens here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I think we're on this path, and the same Republicans who said, sorry, I know I got to figure out how to present this better. I just did an Insta live stream. I apologize. But then people are like, it's the Democrats. I'm like, no, I understand they're worse. I understand the liberal areas are worse, and the Democratic governors embrace this type of tyranny more. But it's the Republicans who cave. And I think when this comes back, it's not just going to come back on a state or county level. They're going to do it through the corporations. They're going to do it through the corporations who control the food you eat. They're going to do it through the corporations who control pretty much anything, commerce, buying and selling, any sort of transfer of money. Companies have a lot of this stuff, whether it's your applications where you're buying stocks and PayPal, et cetera. They're already banning people on PayPal. Today, another person got fully banned for not complying to their narrative or saying something they didn't like. So they're going to try to do it even across state lines through the corporations. And I just predict that the Republicans will be like, well, we can't do anything about the corporations. And that's where I think things need to change a little bit in America. I don't know. I can't speak for Britain or England, what's going on there. But in my country, I would love to see people make it very, 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 very clear that you think that if you believe this, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I think it's abusive to put a mask on a 2-year-old. I think it's sick. I think the fact that people are allowing this to happen is gross. And if you can't take care of your most vulnerable, there's eventually going to be bad karma coming your way. I think that's all happening here. I'm watching people, even in conservative areas, allow people at public schools to do this, not really caring that much, kind of just saying, well, the workers are going to wear it. And we're not. It's like, we got to stop treating people like this. I think it's really messed up. And that's where I draw my line. And when I've drawn my line there, people have said, well, you're this, you're that. You need to agree with Trump. Listen, it's my line in the sand. This is how I feel. I don't care who's listening. I don't agree with it. And I'm never going to make excuses for it like these other people's. If enough people did that, they're not going to do it. But I got to give you an example without being disrespectful or rude. I'll try to be as nice as I can. I think Charlie Kirk does fantastic events. I think that he's very smart business-wise. It's not easy to throw a venue. But at Turning Point USA, who, like I just complimented, Ted Cruz spoke there, and Ted Cruz is getting this roaring applaud because he's going to put on some sort of fake speech as if he's saving the country from the radical left, and everyone's cheering him on. Just a week ago, Ted Cruz admitted on multiple platforms that he thinks that fully vaccinated people should get to take their masks off on an airplane. What does that mean? That means that he thinks fully vaccinated people should have more rights than unvaccinated people. This is the destruction of our Constitution. This is the destruction of a free country. You're not even a first-tier citizen if you don't get the jab that Ted Cruz wants you to get. He's just as complicit as the right. Maybe he's better, but that's not enough for me. I would never cheer for this guy. I would never clap for him at TPUSA. He should get booed off that stage until he apologizes for playing into vaccination segregation and medical tyranny. That's called drawing a line in the sand. But I know it's not easy for some people, or they think I'm mean. The Republican Party has no incentive to change what they're doing because people love it. They love the show. They love this idea that they're fighting the left as they're becoming the left. We're fighting AOC. We're just doing her policies and printing money. It's because of the coronavirus, but we're doing it anyway. It's Trump saving the world with the vaccine. He's not saving. It's like people are doing everything except for just saying no. And that's how easy the solution is, in my opinion. Just say no. Boo Ted Cruz and say no, bro. Until you apologize, you're too weak. And honestly, it's a human rights abuse, in my opinion, to only put forced cloth on people who don't get a new big pharmacy injection. That's the new Republican line. That's the Ted Cruz line, guys. We're drawing our line in the sand by saying we're going to have two different worlds, two different sets of rules, two different constitutions, two different lifestyles, two different access to events and certain things in life for the people who bow down and get double doses of the new pharmacy injection. And for the people who don't, they're not allowed the same freedoms and rights. That's what Ted Cruz is saying. And you're clapping for this guy at a conservative event. This is why they do it. It's WWE. And the longer you think these characters are secretly fighting to save you, the longer they're going to keep doing it because you're incentivizing their behavior. They think they're great, that you love them, so they love you.
I'll be independent. I like my amendments. I don't want to bend it. I don't want to sentence. I am on a vengeance. I will not regret it. I am not defenseless. All my friends protected. Yeah. We let the enemy get too friendly. Now we quarantine like Julian inside the embassy. Pray, 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 pray.